what's in your mind, for you and for I'm trying to decide when I look in your eyes, I mean besides, but you're feeling
Sit back, relax, and step inside the RV. Here we are on episode 31 of Inside the RV. Thank you all for being here. Shout out to the insiders. This is a podcast about entrepreneurship, work ethic, self-development, and becoming the best version of yourself. You're joined by your two lovely hosts. I am one of them. My name is Jacob Moore.
And I'm the other, Ramirez, a.k.a. Double R.
A.K.a. Two Bearded Men.
A.k.a. two mildly handsome young bearded men.
That's fair.
Two able-bodied.
Two young, able-bodied young men. Yes, sir. Together, we are an artist-manager duo. I am the artiste. No, I'm just kidding. I'm the artist manager. Ryan is the artist. And together, we are chronicling our come-up, our independent grind as we try to reach success in the music industry. One thing you're going to find in your entrepreneurial journey is uncertainty. I think that kind of correlates to risk a little bit, right? You can say that those are related, but you're always going to have some sort of uncertainty when you embark on entrepreneurship. I've said this in previous episodes. My favorite definition of entrepreneurship is the undertaking of a new venture under conditions of extreme uncertainty, right? So you don't have to make money to be an entrepreneur. You can start some sort of new project, and if there's risk involved and there's some sort of return, whether it's financial or whether it's fulfillment or whatever it is, embarking on some sort of new venture is entrepreneurship. So if you're just starting a new Instagram page, to show off your fitness or whatever, that is entrepreneurship. It doesn't have to involve money or anything like that. I just think the general journey of success and starting something new and the success is uncertain, that is entrepreneurship. So there are many forms of entrepreneurship. In all of them, there's always going to be risk. You're always going to bear risk and find yourself in front of uncertainty. So how do you navigate uncertainty, I think, is the big question, Ryan. What do you think?
I think the only way to navigate uncertainty is just by taking action towards doing it. Like, literally just doing it. I think there's no other way. You know? I think there's ways to maybe, I don't know, I feel like getting a mentor or just someone to help you would help you kind of mitigate that uncertainty, but there's really no way around like the unknown, because no one knows what the future looks like. Something catastrophic can happen tomorrow and change our whole shit, or whatever it is. So you never know anything. So it's like the only way is to just literally run through it. I think I heard Russ say one time, he's like, when you have fear for something, the only way to get rid of that fear is to run straight at it.
Wow.
And that's the only thing you can do.
It's true. So with uncertainty, there's always going to be things you don't know. Do we agree on that? There's always going to be some things that you don't know, which is fun too. Yeah. That's a component of uncertainty that's fun. Yeah. Is I think a lot of people get into entrepreneurship, they start doing people's nails on the side or being a barber on the side or whatever. Or they start this hustle, or they start selling trading cards, or they invest in stocks or whatever it is. There's always a group of people that get turned off by the idea of, oh my God, I have so much to learn. I don't know what to do. I don't know this. I don't know that. First thing, once again, if you're listening to this podcast, that means you have access to the internet. Google it, watch a YouTube video, and most importantly, have fun navigating through your uncertainty. Number one, by taking action, and number two, by educating yourself as much as possible in order to mitigate uncertainty or being able to properly navigate that uncertainty because you've equipped yourself with the right knowledge.
I don't know about you, bro, but I love to learn.
Yeah.
Like sometimes I think I love learning like online or like reading books more than actually like practicing and getting better like at what I do.
I like learning anything, dude. Yeah. I could be shoveling shit, and if someone shows me a new method, I'm like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Like for me, like if I'm going through a rough time and just like I don't feel like making music, I don't feel like doing anything, I always catch myself going to YouTube and watching an interview or like learning about the shit though, like learning about it. So I noticed like the past couple of years, like whenever I was just like down or not really like in the mood to like work, and I just like I just didn't want to work at all. Yeah. Like I always caught myself learning about the industry, learning about the just learning about it from different people, watching interviews, and that shit was always just super exciting to me. So that's
I'm telling you, that's the fun part of the fear. There's a fun part to the fear. That's why people take risks, right? Yeah. There's fun in not knowing things. There's fun in uncertainty. I think there are going to be...
It's living. You're living.
you're living, dude.
Yeah.
I would rather be scared or uncertain or frustrated or anything than bored. Oh my God. Boredom.
Yeah.
I can't even believe solitary confinement is a thing.
Yeah.
Like boredom is just the number one thing that I think everyone is trying to escape.
Yeah.
And we've done pretty well at it in the 21st century with phones. What you pretty much have some sort of stimulation at all times. If you're bored standing in line, I was in Jersey Mike's today. That place is bomb. We got to go there, by the way. Sponsor us. And I was standing in line and I was like, I'm bored. Pulled out my phone. I had access to the entire world.
Yeah.
You know? So, yeah, it's fun. It's definitely fun to learn things and embrace the uncertainty. You know, once again, that's life. That's part of the hustle and that's part of the fun. And that's also why you got to be doing something you like.
Yeah.
If you're uncertain about something and you don't even like doing it, that makes it 10 times harder,
Good luck.
10 times worse. You're probably going to hate it. You're not going to feel fulfilled. But if you don't know something about something you like, then you're actively going to try to become more educated on it, more intelligent, and you're going to try to become more knowledgeable about it. And you're going to overcome those uncertainties.
Mm-hmm.
And that just is all part of really liking what you do. So, you know, if you're going to embark on something, make it something you like. Or at least have some sort of affinity to, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think it starts with an interest too, you know?
Mhm.
I think like I'm reading in this book right now, it's called Grit. And what she says in there is like usually, you know, your love for what you do or your passions just starts with a simple seed of interest.
Mhm.
So like you probably won't even be like in love with what you do for a while.
Mhm.
Like you just have the desire, like that little interest of like, I'm curious about this, like so just follow that.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Like the one thing that occupies your mind, like that's what you should be, you know, taking risks on and like what you said, like the uncertainty is kind of fun because you can live like just a boring average life of just doing the same thing every day for years and years and years and nothing special comes out of it. You're not really meeting any new people through it. Like I don't know. I think that the uncertainty part about it is exciting for one, and for me personally, like as much as I hate the feeling of like fear, I love it in the sense that it tests me as like a man because that's like a big thing. Like for me, that's a big like why. That's what helps me get up in the morning too. Is like I want to prove to myself like that I'm like a strong man and I'm not like just like this little boy trying to do music and shit. Like I'm like, you know, like what I just said, a man. So that's like my own thing. But I think if you find like that, you find that why or find like your reason of like doing what you do. That's ultimately what's gonna like be the stronghold for you to push through that uncertainty, and you kind of need that, in my opinion. Like I feel like if you just kind of going through the days, it's like you can get lost in it, but you gotta find like that reason, you know, or multiple reasons too, you know.
So number one, be interested in it.
Yeah.
Have some sort of affinity or interest in what you're doing. Number two, take action, and number three, learn as much as possible in order to traverse uncertainty or mitigate uncertainty. So I heard this thing on YouTube. This guy was like, you should be, or it was probably TikTok. This guy was like, you should be doing 25% learning, 75% doing. So if you're sitting and you're on YouTube all day learning and reading books all day, but you're never applying that knowledge, you're not going to get very far. Because number one, you only have so much capacity for knowledge in your brain that you can remember at one time. It's like RAM, right? Your brain can only hold so many things at once. You're going to forget things. And when you do things in the physical world and execute upon the knowledge that you've gained, it solidifies it in your brain.
Yeah.
Right? So every time you read something, every time you read a page of a book or you learn something new, that's like a curl for your brain. You're getting a sick pump, right? That's like a curl for your brain.
Yeah.
And every time you go out and execute on it, that's like the great meal and protein shake after the workout, right? So you can't have one without the other.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you got to go out and execute, drink that protein shake, get that meal in. So yeah,
I think sometimes like people become like there are some people who are like genuinely like interested in success and like wanting to better their lives, but then they become like success zombies in the sense that like they go to every seminar, They go to all the events.
Every course.
They read every course. They buy every course, but they never like do anything.
Yeah.
They're just so obsessed with like, well, I need to know more. I need to know more, which is good, but it's like what you said. It's got to be like 75% action because that's what's actually going to propel you forward.
Yeah.
The knowledge should be like a supplement to like the doing, you know?
Totally. Because you can learn from doing better than you can do from learning in most instances, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I think if you're a brain surgeon, you shouldn't go out and just start cutting people open and shit, you know? And they're
Trial
like,
and error.
"Oh, yeah, if I fuck it up, I'll go read the book later, whatever. You know, there is some, but for the most part, it's like in the digital world and providing, you know, digital services for people or music or anything like that, or just starting some sort of journey. Like I said, there are specialized things where you can't just start taking a jab at it. But for the most part, I think you can learn from doing much more. And the thing is, when you start doing things and working in your industry, your niche, providing services to your audience, whatever it is, you learn what's really important.
Yeah.
Like there's probably a handful of things that I learned in school that really I was like, holy shit. Like I use those to this day, like sales tactics, marketing things I learned. Like there's a good like 20% of what I learned in college, like I really use, and it's really benefited me, given me high value skills. It's great. But the other 80% was like, you know, whatever. And then like I barely used that information. But when I started actually, you know, my day job and then working with you, and I just started getting into real world business, I learned what people want. I learned what skills were valuable, and I learned how the industry works.
Yeah.
Like I never would have learned that if all I did was read books the rest of my life.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So it's important because once you get into your industry, you're going to figure out, you're going to know what you need to know. I think I've spoken about this in a previous podcast. It's very important to identify what you don't know.
Yeah.
Know what you don't know. Because if you don't know what you don't know, and that thing that you don't know is extremely crucial, you're never going to know about it until you actively search for the things that you don't know that can propel you forward. Say that 20 times fast.
And if you don't know, now you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, that makes total sense for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Just making sure.
I was calculating it with like, you know, geometry figures and shit
Right,
with you saying
yeah.
that, but I got it.
Ryan had a calculator in his hand. He was like steam coming out of his ears and shit. He was like, if you know what you don't know, but I don't know what I do know.
Yeah, it's crazy how like once you actually start taking action and doing things, like you start to figure out things that you would have never figured out if you didn't do that. Like,
yes.
And there are things you would have never even thought about that you needed to know. Like it's weird. Like things start clicking in your head, and then they start clicking subconsciously too. And I think that's the most powerful part about it, because now the way you interact with people and the way you just go about your life, like I think that's where confidence stems from too. It's like that subconscious shit. Like it's not things you're thinking about. Like I need to be confident. I need to I need to act this way. It's like now you do it organically because your brain knows like subconsciously like of all those little things that clicked for you. I don't know. It's weird. Like I feel like the older I get and the more we do this, like the more confident I get talking to people. And I was like lacking a lot of confidence like 2 years ago. Like to be honest, like. You know, I still, you know, I'm not the most confident person in the world, but like
getting there.
It definitely, you know, I'm definitely feel myself leveling up in that regard, you know.
Another thing is that sometimes you just got to look at uncertainty or risk and think, okay, well, what's the downside? Let's say I embark on this journey and there is risk, right? Most of the time, you know, depending on what you're doing, maybe you'll lose a little bit of money doing something or whatever. You got to do a risk assessment.
Yeah.
You got to see truly how risky the thing is that you're doing, how much you don't know, how much uncertainty there is. And I think a lot of times you'll find out that what you thought was so risky and what you thought was so uncertain isn't really what you thought it is.
Yeah.
You know, like you'll know if you're engaging in something that's going to lose you hundreds of $1,000s or put you in debt or put you in jail or to destroy your life.
Yeah.
But the reality is that, you know, most things that you're going to embark on, and, you know, like if you're starting a business or starting some sort of music artist career or something like that, there's not really a huge downside. Like you're not going to lose your house.
Yeah.
There's nothing crazy. Now, if you're dumb and you go take out a huge loan and you know nothing about markets or anything about business and you fuck your credit up and you destroy your life, number one, that's your own fault. But the odds of that happening is like super low. That's what I'm saying. Like really look at assess the risk, really look at the uncertainty.
Yeah.
And I think most of the time you'll find out like, damn, what am I really tripping on?
And here's the thing with fear that I'm realizing too, like, you know how like when you start imagining scenarios in your head that, you know, create fear for you?
Of like, never mind.
Well, well, people always say like, oh yeah, well that's made up in your mind, right?
Sure.
But I've found that a lot of times those things you're fearful of, they end up happening. At least for me, like the things I was fearful of, like they ended up happening.
Mm-hmm.
But then I'm still here today and like still going. So it's like, yeah, they happened, but I was able to get through them.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So that's one thing I realize like most people don't say is like, they always say fear is like an illusion and like it's just fake. But I don't think that's fully truthful because like I said, I've found that, you know, if those things actually do happen, they can and probably will happen in your success route. Like you're not going to have a perfect success route. Like things are going to go wrong. So it's like,
so you're saying that you got to expect those fears to happen.
Yeah.
So maybe when you think of something that you're fearing in your entrepreneurial journey, you should say, oh, why am I fearing that so much? You know what? Let me get a whiteboard and write down this fear that I have.
yeah,
And let me write ways to mitigate that fear from coming to fruition. Let me write ways to, you know, traverse through that fear and to tackle it and to overcome it, right? Is that
absolutely.
yeah.
Like, well, the illusion is that like the fear is going to like cripple you and like hurt you for life and shit. Like that's how crazy your mind makes it out to be. But the reality is like it's just going to be an obstacle that you're going to be able to overcome by just pushing through it a little bit. That's it. And then it'll be like nothing.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I like that, bro. I like that. I think that, yeah, man, there's a lot of uncertainty. All right. Hey, everybody. Have a good day.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
I think the term the fear of the unknown is an interesting term. And I think that another fear that people have, which I have too, low key sometimes, is like the fear of like actually getting success and being successful, which is a weird concept. And it kind of doesn't make sense and it kind of sounds stupid, but it's like, think about the pressures of when you're successful. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like right now, like we're in a good spot because, you know, I think the only pressure we have is like making money. Yeah. But as far as like the things people count on us for and like a whole thing, like that's a whole nother level. Yeah. So there's like fear to that too, but it's like,
people relying on you and stuff.
Yeah, just all that, you know what I'm saying? Like, or me as an artist, like having to like, if I pop off with something, like I got to make sure the next shit's even better, like just shit like that. But I mean, it comes with the territory.
And
I guess.
Once again, that's something to look forward to.
Yeah.
It's another learning experience, and that's why you have to continually be hungry for knowledge and new experiences that you can learn from. So, I almost welcome. I almost welcome new experiences that I don't know shit about.
Yeah.
Because it's like, okay, now I'm forced to be confident.
Yeah.
Now I'm forced to learn something new because, you know, in 2021 we're sedentary creatures and we sit on our phones. It's easy to live a life where you're mitigating uncertainty and risk as much as possible. Not very many people have to go work in coal mines and sweatshops and all this stuff, at least here in America. America, brother. You know, like we got it pretty good. So there are much better ways to mitigate risk and to live a very comfortable life. But, you know, with comfort comes potentially missing out on experiencing something new. I think it's good to get out of your comfort zone and to learn new things. That's why, like,
growth and comfort don't go together.
I agree.
They don't go together.
I agree. And that's why when you and I have an opportunity that comes up that's new, I almost want to just jump on it like right off the bat. Yeah. You'll tell me like, hey, this person emailed me or this happened. Sometimes I just want to call you back and be like, fuck it, dude. Let's do it. Yeah. Doesn't even matter. I'm not even going to read the contract.
That's another story.
Yeah, no, but it's like, you know, because I just want to learn as much as possible. And I'd rather do it now.
Like anything and everything.
Yeah.
Type shit.
Yeah. And I'd rather do it now than, you know, when there's a lot more on our plates when we're like 30. Ugh. Can't believe we're going to be 30 one day, bro.
6-7 years from now.
Yeah. How old are you? 23?
26 and a half.
And you have that beard? Oh. Dude, by the time you're 26 and a half, that thing is going to be like down to your balls, bro.
I'm going to
have
like
a great beard.
it's gonna be like a triangle and shit,
A triangle.
like a long goatee or whatever.
Would
Gonna braid it.
your beard be like a cone like that, or would you? I want like a square one.
No, I don't want that big of a beard.
You don't want a big beard?
I don't want like
Yeah,
a
me
lumberjack
neither.
type
Yeah.
beard.
Yeah, me neither. Weird.
I'm cool with this right now. Like,
Yeah.
I mean,
I saw some bullshit TikTok or something, and it was like women find men with like stubbly, like kind of shaved beards more attractive. And I was like, Mom, I need a new razor right now. I was like, where's Dad's clippers? I don't know. I don't. Enough about ourselves.
it's how you rock it, maybe. I don't know.
It's how you rock it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just want to be able to have a big beard so I can like smash a glass bottle on my head and like drink a thing of whiskey, you know, and be like, yeah, brother.
You just wear like a flannel with overalls and
Yeah, it's like 30 degrees
wood.
outside, and I just have a flannel on,
that's funny.
suspenders on and shit. But yeah, man, that's pretty much all I got.
How much time we got? 21 minutes? We're not done right now. There's no way.
What else do you have to add?
I'm just interested in like the whole concept of fear. Like I feel like that's just such an interesting thing. Like people just literally waste their whole lives, in my opinion, because they're fearful of something.
They're fearful about what other people think, bro. We all are.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was in Trader Joe's today, and I drank an iced coffee before I went in there, and my anxiety was like through the roof, bro.
Yeah.
And on top of that, I had a mask on, which it makes you feel like you're breathing less. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you're getting oxygen, but like you wear one, you're like, this is uncomfortable, and then my glasses are fogging
Kind
up.
of claustrophobic a little bit.
Yeah, and I'm like, is the cashier gonna hit on me? They're out of lasagna, like, but yeah, I walked in there, and then I was like looking at the chicken salads or whatever, and I remembered I was like, no one cares what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Everybody in here is probably focused on themselves. The girl next to me, the guy next to me, the worker, they're probably in their own head just like I am. Like, no one gives a shit about
And if they
me,
did
dude.
notice you, it would be like 2 seconds and they already moved on.
And yeah, and even if they did and they made an opinion about you, who gives a fuck?
Yeah.
Fuck them.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Right?
That's
yeah,
so
take that,
crazy.
Trader Joe's.
Isn't
Sorry,
that
what?
so crazy? Like how much your mind makes that a big deal?
Yeah.
That's so crazy, dude.
Yeah, it is a trip. And dude, you just said it. It's all in your mind.
Yeah.
You know, there's very few instances where the opinions of a stranger are going to impact your life and embarrass you and whatever. Everybody thinks that they're the main character, you know?
Yeah, it's crazy. And I know all y'all go through that too. Like,
Yeah.
don't be trying to bullshit us and be like, I don't care. Like,
Yeah.
it's like, I'm sure we all have moments like that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I think it comes from a good place, you know. You want to do good, look your best, be your best.
The
whatever
only
for other
time-
people.
The only time you don't feel like that is when you get a fresh haircut.
My dog. I walk out of the barber shop on top of the world, baby.
Yeah.
I go, I appreciate you, fam. Out. Yeah, I dap. I walk in, my dap's all fucked up. I'm like barely talking. I walk out with a fade, bro, and me and my barber do a 20-minute dap.
Oh my God.
We're doing a dance routine.
Unrehearsed.
Yeah, we're doing choreography right there in the doorway. And I'm on top of the
Hilarious.
world the rest of the day. And then like day 3, you're like, all right, this is cool. It's grown in a little bit. And then day 5, you're just like, fuck,
Yeah, you're back to normal.
back to it. Yeah, back to it.
Back to the ground. That's funny.
Yeah, but
What
Jinx?
What are your
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, what are your thoughts?
He said, yeah, bitch, shut the fuck up.
What are your thoughts on like I always see these TikToks where it's like, oh, you know, the reason why people got it wrong and they can't live in the now is because the past and present, like the past or the future, they're either focused on those two, but in actuality, they're not real. The only real moment is right now. Like everything else is like fake, quote unquote, I guess, in your mind.
You're asking what I think about that?
I want you to dive into that. Like, what you think about that?
Well, it's true.
It's kind of a weird question, but
It's true that the idea of the past and present and the past and the future are
in your mind.
in your mind.
Yeah.
They're not necessarily some real thing.
Yeah.
The only thing that's happening right now is right now.
Yeah.
The only thing that you can do is take actions right now. Technically, yeah, the past doesn't exist. Oh, time travel, the future doesn't exist. Yeah, there's only right now. I'm sure there's a crazy, crazy physics, you know, time and space thing we can get into, but I'm not educated enough on that subject. But I will just say that, yeah, I agree. The time that you are making decisions and things are happening is right now. That's all you have control over. But okay, here's what I will say. You will never have control over the past, but you can dictate you can dictate what happens in the future to be in your favor by the actions you take now.
Yep.
So if you hate something that happened in your past and you don't want to repeat it, I don't care if people say history repeats itself. If you truly examine your past, look in retrospect, and realize what happened that put you in a bad situation or something that you didn't like, you can take actions right now that will help change the future.
I'm a big believer in that too.
Yeah, totally. And so I think everybody gets hung up on the past, present, and future, all what's going on. I think that's a total human thing. I think that the quarter life crisis is absolutely real.
I think there is a healthy level of like caring about the future though.
Yeah.
Like if you just wander through it in the present and just like not really think ahead and don't visualize what you want, like you're gonna be taking wherever the wind takes you.
Mm-hmm.
There's a healthy level of like visualizing the future for yourself.
I think you got to have an appreciation for the future.
Yeah.
You just got to appreciate, hey, the future is going to happen, new opportunities. And I used to trip on getting old. I would always be like, oh man, like by the time I'm 30, you know, like what did this celebrity accomplish by the time they were 30? Like, oh shit, I'm 24 right now. Justin Bieber's been popped off since he was like 14. Like, why am I even trying? You know what I'm saying? Like, I always think about stuff like that, but it's just like, dude, like, you know, everybody has their own path. Life plays out how it does. Appreciate the fact that you have a future. And here's something cool too. My mentor, Curtis, Curtis is like 60, I think. He's like 60 something. We were sitting in class one time and Curtis was like, dude, I've made my money. I worked for global companies, made billions of dollars for them. I was the grandfather of this industry, whatever, all these different things. He's like, I live with my wife in a real nice house. I got money in the bank. I'm in my prime, dude. I'm in my prime right now. He's like, and I own my own company, dude. And I was
That's
like,
awesome.
I was like, Curtis, you're like 60. He goes, I know.
Yeah.
And he's in his prime now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like I always think like, damn, dude, like when I turn 30, it's over. But dude, one of my friends is like 31, I think. My friend Mikhail, he fucks me and you up in like every category.
Oh, yeah.
Like work ethic, discipline, like everything. Like
Yeah.
he's killing it. And so I look at and Ed Milet, Grant Cardone, like all these people like that are like older than us, like years older than us. It's like, yo, they're doing so much. Like I look forward to that.
You can create your prime forever.
I think, yeah, exactly. I think what I'm used to seeing is, unfortunately, is like fucking overweight people in their like mid 40s or 50s or whatever who settled and chose a job and fucking hate what they and fucking hate what they do, and like, you know, like neither of them are attractive anymore in their relationship and they hate their job or whatever. And I see that and I'm like, well, shit, man, I guess we're all destined for that, you know, like whatever. But I always think like, dude, like, when you turn 30 or 40 or 50 or whatever, like you can change your life at any time.
Yeah.
At any time. So I look forward to knowing that, sure, I'm 24 now, but that doesn't mean I'm in my prime right now. Like I can level up.
Yeah, I think like the only way to like be knocked off your prime, quote unquote, like let's say your prime was at 31. That was your peak and shit. I think the only way that you create a peak for yourself in that regard is if you become complacent. Like if you're not trying to excel, like if you're happy with your successes and you're like, I've won, like I'm winning, and you just get complacent and you get lazy, you know, I don't know, you start drinking a lot and you just kind of chill or whatever, then that's when you kind of go downhill. But you can always like, you know, that's why you see like what you said with Curtis, he's 16, he's still killing it.
Yeah.
Like that was a choice that he made of like not getting complacent and just like still winning continuously. Like that's what I've realized, like the most successful people do is like they keep winning like forever. Like they don't ever just settle for good enough. They try to become great and then amazing and then excellent and then like they try to build a legacy, and it's like they just keep going. Yeah, you know.
I always tell myself I'm 24 right now. I want 25-year-old Jacob to be able to walk up to 24-year-old Jacob, straight throw hands, beat the shit out of myself. I want to make more money than 24-year-old Jacob. I want to fuck more bitches than 24-year-old Jacob. I want to, you know, everything. I want to be able to do more push-ups than 24-year-old Jacob, whatever. I want to be nicer than 24-year-old Jacob. Like I want to respect people more. I want to build better relationships than 24-year-old Jacob did. I want myself to level up in every area. I want to be a more kind person. I could be a fucking dick. you know, and I want to be a more kind person. So I always tell myself that, like, look, man, and you can't examine it on like a day-to-day basis. Like if you have one great day and the next day a bad day, it's like you're kind of zoomed in. Like how are you going to evaluate your growth on that?
Yeah.
But once again, we've talked about it. If you zoom out on the graph, you just got to look like, is 24-year-old Jacob, is 25-year-old Jacob doing better than 24-year-old Jacob? Yeah. Good job. Keep it up.
Would you say that about 20-year-old Jacob?
That I'm doing better than 20-year-old
Like,
Jacob?
could you beat up 20-year-old Jacob's
yeah,
ass?
yeah, I could fuck his ass up.
Yeah.
100%. I think I lifted more weights and I weighed more. I was probably like, I think when I was 20, I was like 10 pounds heavier than I am now. And I was lifting like a lot and like, you know, like I was on that grind.
Well,
so,
mentally.
Mentally, I could fuck
yeah.
myself up. Yeah, I could work harder. I make more money now than I did when I was 20. Like everything. Yeah, I could destroy him. But he was still a beast. Yo, shout out 20-year-old Jacob. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, so that's kind of a good feeling to look at and stuff. So I always keep that in mind. Those two things. You know, you can always your prime is where you decide it is. And that doesn't mean physical prime or anything like that. It just means like, how do you feel about yourself? Like, are you constantly keeping the promises you've made to yourself, which you said is the definition of confidence? And I love that.
Yeah.
You know, are you doing those things and are you leveling up by your own standards? And are they realistic standards that truly are leveling you up?
Yeah.
You know, and those are the questions you got to ask yourself. And if you are, give yourself a thumbs up and just keep grinding.
Yeah.
That's it.
The thing that I feel like I've already known for a while and that you've known probably for a while too, but that's really been hitting me a lot recently, like in a deeper way, is like what you said earlier. Everyone has their own path. Everyone has their own way towards their own success.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just because Justin Bieber pops off at 14 doesn't mean I'm screwed.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's such a silly way to think. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And I kind of always knew that, but I couldn't feel it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, I would still get kind of discouraged, but I knew that was the wrong way to think. But now, like, it's been really hitting me like, yo, like, people have different paths, and those different paths create different impacts on what you do. So I look at someone like Chris Brown, right? Okay, Chris Brown popped off when he was, I think, 15 or 16, and became a superstar, right? I could look at that story, but I can look at an Eric Bellinger, who, in my opinion, is just as dope, but in a different way.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But he's got a whole different impact on the industry than Chris does. Like, obviously, Chris has, like, a crazy impact on the industry, but they're different. You know what I'm saying? Like, each person brings their own value to the industry. So it's like, what's your value? Like, finding your value for what you do. And your path can be a whole different inspiring story that you would have never thought of until you go through it and make it happen. And one thing that Steve Jobs said was, the only way you can connect the dots is looking in the past. You can't connect the dots going forward because you don't know what's going to happen, which goes back to the uncertainty thing. The only way you can connect the dots is by looking back. And it's crazy to see, like, even like on our journey, like together, like when you connect the dots looking back, like how shit made sense. You know what I'm saying? But we can see it now, like from where we are, like from when we started, even like when we were like kids, bro, like to like now, like you can see the dots, how they connected and how they made sense so far. But going through it, it's like we always have the thoughts of like, damn, like, how are we going to do this? Like, we don't know. Yeah. But when you look back, it's like, oh, we were doing, you know, we were just going for it. And now we can see what's going on. So.
Back when you and I were trying to make iCarly videos and stuff with your flip video camera.
The webisodes and shit.
We had it even back then, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, we were learning how to develop content, to create content.
We were creating content before everybody.
With the flip video.
With the flip video camera, baby. I'm pretty sure we uploaded to YouTube in like 2009, bro. Didn't YouTube start in like 2007?
Yeah.
We were on that wave, baby. How come everybody watched
early adopter.
We were an early adopter of the platform. We were an influencer. How come everybody watched Justin Bieber's videos on YouTube when it was still organic, but nobody watched our videos? No one wanted to see scooter adventures.
Fucking algorithm, bro.
Damn algorithm.
Nobody was watching the Motley Crue 22 and Naked 07.
Don't look those names up. Some fan is gonna find that like years from now and find our old YouTube accounts.
That's so
and stuff,
funny.
Man. Yeah. Yeah, man.
But yeah, go ahead.
Good. Ryan's checking the time. He's like, have we hit our 45-minute we got to But yeah, no. I mean, fear is a part of the game, dude. Like
But like I like what you said though, to wrap it up. Like I like what you said, how it's exciting. Cuz I'd much rather have that feeling than to just be like bored. and just like do nothing and just be in a comfort zone and just, you know, like a scenario for me, which would suck. Maybe not for someone else, but for me, it would be like working a 9 to 5 in a cubicle, doing some random shit that I don't like, coming home 5 p.m., setting up a lawn chair in my driveway with my neighbors, cracking open a beer every day, talking about how I hate my boss, and talking about how I wish things could have been. No, I could have been a dope artist, but the circumstances sucked. But in the reality, I just had an ego and I was fearful about doing it. Like that scenario, like scares the shit out of me. You know what I'm saying? So I'd rather have what we're doing now. Cause bro, like even on this level, like to hear different people, you know, be like, dude, like you guys are inspiring. Like I watched the podcast or like I watch what you guys are doing, and it's just so dope to see you guys consistent and just going. Like even to hear one person say that, it's like, bro, like just that small seed planting into someone is a way better feeling than just being comfortable and like doing our normal shit every day and not trying to do something. So I don't know. That's how I feel.
Embrace the fear, embrace the uncertainty. It's all part of the journey. And here's a cool story. Ryan told me that one of our buddies we know, who's a really good photographer now, he got asked if he's ever shot photos on tour for someone.
Say his name.
Was it Nate James?
Yeah.
Right? It was Nate. You tell the story then.
Oh.
Because I think, okay, real quick, let me preface this. I think this story that you guys are about to hear, okay, guys, from Ryan right now, this story that you're about to hear from our buddy Nate James is the definition of embracing uncertainty. And if you keep up with Nate James now, I mean, the dude's been killing it, but now he is like killing it. Like he's always been killing it, but it just goes to show that like from this story, he embraced uncertainty, took fear head on, and he's fucking killing it now. So tell that story.
And this is like the 8th time we've mentioned him in the podcast.
I know. When are we getting his ass on here, bro?
No, honestly, like we should hit him up. Definitely. But basically, he was telling me that when he first started photography, he just got like a camera that was like pretty good or something like that. I'll have to confirm the details of the story with him later. But like in a nutshell, what he said was that he was doing photo shoot with someone, and somehow like Mac Miller's like not an agent, but somebody that was working with him was like, hey, was at that photo shoot, and he was like his second or third photo shoot. He said literally, and the chick was like, hey, Mac Miller is about to go on tour or a show. It was one of those two, and he needs a photographer. Have you ever done that before? And what Nate said was, yeah, I've done that before. Let's do it. And it was like his second or third photo shoot ever. Like, so he's never shot a concert, just like just like a regular photo shoot. And so that was just really interesting to me, because I feel like most people would be like, oh no, I haven't, but I could try. You know what I'm saying? And that alone, like that not confident way to say it, like would turn off that person, and he would have never got all these opportunities. Because then that shit snowballed too. Like he told me, like after he did that Mac Miller thing, you know, he met some people backstage, ended up doing shit for Tory Lanez, he's met Post Malone and was doing a lot of his shit early on. So it's like, dude, like if you have an opportunity, take that shit and like just do it with confidence. And that's one thing I had to tell myself, bro. Like sometimes, like, you know, we're all our worst critics, right? And sometimes I'll tell myself like, oh, like I'm not ready. Like if there's a little singing competition or something, like, oh, like let me practice more. I'm not good yet. But it's like, dude, that's bullshit, bro. Like just go for that, because you never know. It's like, you know what I'm saying? Like you just got to be confident with what you do. And just go for it. Like, I don't know. That's kind of what I learned from him though.
It's amazing, bro.
Yeah.
Amazing. All right, everyone. Hey, hit us up on Instagram at JACXBMOORE at Ryan Ramirez Official. Ryan's got a new song dropping February 26th. DYD. Yeah. Hit us up. Tell us what you guys want to hear on the podcast. Shoot us a DM. Go listen to Ryan's music. And peace.
What's in your mind for you and for I? I'm trying to decide when I look in your eyes, yeah. I made my signs,